Hello! We're gonna do another Art of Footsies! So if you've seen the Art of Footsies, the first 5 chapters, then this will be kind of a refresher if you're interested in that. I'll also dive into some other concepts I didn't really touch on in the videos. But first I want to give you an update. So I have some other video essays coming down the pipeline, but first I want to research those ideas and find the right words to explain them. So they are coming, but they're just going to take a little time. I may do down the road some match analysis and really looking closely at the neutral game. So again, I'm going to be at Combo Breaker this year, and I've been training up for it, and I wanted to shed some light on neutral in MK11. So let's get it. So I remember reading the Footsies Handbook. It's a really good resource, but some of the links are broken now, and when you don't play those games, it's kind of hard to see exactly what they're talking about. So again, this is the way I think of Footsies. It's not the end-all be-all. It helps me think about it, talk about it, and watch it. So again, Juicebox and Snake Eyes at Combo Breaker 2017 talked about a Footsies Triangle. And again, I've reimagined it here. The Footsies Triangle has 3 sides. There's Whiff Punish, Approach, and Poke. Each side is a perfect answer, but can also be defeated. So again, it's like a tactic wheel, right? 1 gets beat by 2, 2 gets beat by 3, 3 gets beat by 1, it loops around. Let's talk about Whiff Punishing. The Whiff Punish is punishing your opponent for not connecting with their attack, leaving them wide open to hit during their recovery. Whiff Punishing kind of has 3 parts: anticipation, reaction, and then execution. So Whiff Punishing is a major part of Footsies, and here's how I practice it. So I set the dummy to flip stance twice, and then I do the button. The flip stance is just to replicate my prediction. I have a feeling exactly when they're going to press that button. That's when I'm ready for it, and I react and Whiff Punish. So one of the first ways I learned how to Whiff Punish is I found a block string, or an attack, that puts me at the range where my opponent wants to press a button. So I'm going to find a block string that perfectly spaces me outside their poke range, so that the button whiffs, and then I'm ready for the Whiff Punish. Something you may notice is that when you press a button, your opponent will press the same button back. So since I poked with this button, that's the button I'm expecting to look for. Now this takes some practice, but becomes easier over time. So I really wish that NetherRealms games had a reversal button. At least I don't know how to do it, because that would be very handy. So instead, I've been practicing with reversal throw. So I poke, get pushed out, wait to react, then execute. On to the next side, approaching. So my opponent's godlike at Whiff Punishing. How do I stop him? I approach. So you're gonna have to stop your buttons from whiffing for him to not Whiff Punish you. If we know our opponent is focused on Whiff Punishing, he may not expect us to simply walk up before counter poking. This is when you approach, when your opponent is not expecting it. They've predicted that you will press a button. They're very focused on that Whiff Punish. This is when you catch them off guard. So this adds a new dynamic to the ground game. Now we're playing Footsies. So we approach first to ensure that our pokes do not whiff. Now if we want to continue to Whiff Punish, we're going to have to retreat so that the button whiffs. So if we predict that they're going to approach before poking and we back up, eventually we'll be cornered. Watch Sonic Fox here. He knows his opponent is looking for a Whiff Punish. If your opponent's giving up space, take it, right? Eventually you'll have the corner. The corner is a dangerous, dangerous place. Outside of the obvious advantages of the corner, like damaging combos and resets and wild setups and, there's something else that's quite scary. You can no longer Whiff Punish in the corner, right? Not very easily. When you have an opponent in the corner, you've nearly taken away 1/3 of their options, right? You've taken away their ability to Whiff Punish. So now you can approach with confidence that your pokes will not be whiffing. Okay, so now our opponent is walking forward. What are they doing when they're not walking forward? They're not blocking. This is where poking comes in. So this is how you stop your opponent from approaching and avoiding the corner yourself. You must be willing to fight for that space. Sometimes you'll react to your opponent moving forward and press a button to stop them in their tracks, right? Other times you're gonna have to preemptively press a button. You're gonna have to predict that they're about to walk forward and be one step ahead of them and press that button. So here's something I didn't touch on in the Art of Footsies, is buffering or empty canceling. What can make pokes very strong is empty canceling a normal into a special. For example, with Sub-Zero, I can press his standing 3 and cancel into a fireball. On block or on hit, it comes out, but on whiff, it does not come out. As I'm poking, if they happen to be walking into this button, I'm gonna get a full combo. This can make poking very strong, right? But there's kind of two ways to beat poking. One, if you smell that they're buffering a special behind a normal, then you can simply walk into its range, block it, and then punish their special. Our opponent keeps poking us whenever we're trying to advance. How can we beat pokes? We can whiff punish them. So let's recap. Whiff punishing is strong, but approaching first can beat it out. Approaching is strong, but poking first can beat it out. Poking is strong, but whiff punishing can beat it out. So now we know we can loop back around and whiff punish their pokes. Now what's even scarier is that we can bait them to press a button. We can use what's called the feint. The feint applies to all sides of the triangle. So we can pretend to do one of these options to bait out their answer. By only pretending to approach and then backing off, we can cause their poke to whiff. This is why it's most commonly the definition of footsies to move in and out of your opponent's poke range, right? That's what you see, that's what everyone's talking about. So we can bait out their poke and be ready to whiff punish.
Dragon string against
oh my goodness! That's the first time 1-1 has gone punished.
So you can also feint pressing buttons. So if my opponent is very focused on a whiff punish, they might react to anything I press. So Sonic Fox knows that Dragon's really good at whiff punishing, and he's gonna toy with his reactions. Watch Sonic Fox approach, and he presses a down 3, which baits out Dragon's whiff punish buttons. Then he gets to whiff punish him. Now here's the tricky one to think about, is feinting a whiff punish. Pretending that you're looking for a whiff punish. To beat whiff punishing, the opponent must approach first. So if we pretend to be passive, we can cause the opponent to move forward. If we successfully bait them forward, we can simply retreat to a further distance and let it whiff. So let's look at Dragon. Dragon's really good at this too. He's blocking, he's pretending to be passive. So he approaches into Combat's range, so Combat thinks he can approach and press this button. But little does he know that Dragon is pretending to be passive and blocking here, and he's gonna retreat. This allows him to get this whiff punish. I hope that makes sense, jeez. So, I hope this video sheds some light on what the top players are doing in neutral, and hopefully you can apply these to your game. I would recommend to taking it one step at a time, right? Taking maybe a week or so to focus on whiff punishing before you move on to the next step. So again, this video was meant to be a little shorter, a little more compact. If you're interested in learning these concepts a little more deeply, I would recommend checking out the Art of Footsies. Although it's Street Fighter examples, it applies to all fighting games. So I hope this video simplifies the way that you think about footsies, talk about footsies, and watch footsies, because footsies are the best. They're so fun, right? 3 simple options. Or 6. There's 6 options. Or more, I don't know. So if my opponent pokes, I can whiff punish them. But if they're whiff punishing, then I can approach. If they're approach, I can poke them. And then, oh god, I can feint. I can bait that out. I can do, oh, there's so many options. But there's so many options. It's so simple. Oh man, oh god, I love footsies. Oh, I love footsies so much, man. There's so many options. It's so simple. Right? Check it out. Or more. I don't know. Pokes. Just try them. Try it out. Whiff punish. There's so many options. It's so simple. And then, oh god, I need years of footsies, you know? I just love footsies so much. Okay, that got a little weird.